Is Brooke pregnant? The father's identity is shocking. The ocean outside the Forrester estate looked deceptively calm, the pale blue waves rolling in with a serenity that mocked the storm quietly brewing inside Brooke Logan. Morning light spilled across the living room, illuminating framed memories of a lifetime filled with love, betrayal, passion, and second chances. Brooke stood alone, one hand braced against the back of the couch, the other clutching a small white stick she had hidden in her robe pocket since dawn. 2 pink lines. Again. She closed her eyes, her breath catching in her chest. At this stage in her life, pregnancy wasn't just unexpected. It was seismic. Brooke Logan had lived many lifetimes already. She had loved fiercely, lost painfully, and risen from the ashes more times than she could count. A baby? Now? Her reflection in the glass doors stared back at her, eyes glossy with disbelief. Brooke whispered to herself, "This can't be happening." But it was. And worse, far worse, was the truth she hadn't yet dared to fully face. She wasn't sure who the father was. Brooke had always believed secrets had an expiration date. In Los Angeles, especially in the orbit of the Forresters and Logans, truths had a way of exploding spectacularly. Yet this secret already felt heavier than any she'd carried before. Her mind drifted back over the past 2 months, every lingering look, every emotional night, every moment when lines blurred under the weight of old feelings and unresolved history. Ridge Taylor, Dollar Bill Spencer, and Deacon Sharp. Just thinking Deacon's name made her stomach flip in a way that had nothing to do with morning sickness. Brooke sank onto the couch, memories flooding in uninvited. Ridge had always been her constant variable. No matter how many times they broke apart, they found their way back to each other, sometimes through destiny, sometimes through sheer stubbornness. Just weeks ago, after yet another blow-up involving Taylor, Ridge had shown up at Brooke's door late at night, soaked from the rain and emotionally raw. "I don't know who I am without you," he had said, his voice cracking. Brooke should have said no. She knew that. But when Ridge kissed her, years of history crashed over her like a tidal wave. They made love with a desperation that came from fear of losing each other forever. Afterward, as Ridge slept beside her, Brooke had stared at the ceiling, feeling something shift inside her. Not guilt. Not regret. Something else. Hope. Then there was Bill Spencer. Bill had been different. Calculated. Confident. Dangerous in the way only he could be. Their night together wasn't fueled by romance, it was fueled by vulnerability. Bill had been spiraling, haunted by past mistakes and the growing distance between him and his sons. Brooke had stopped by to check on him, intending nothing more than a conversation. But wine turned into confessions. Confessions turned into closeness. And closeness turned into a moment neither of them planned, but neither of them stopped. Afterward, Bill had looked at Brooke with something like awe. "You make me feel human again," he had said. Brooke left before dawn, shaken, not because she didn't care, but because she cared too much. And then, Deacon. The one name Brooke had tried hardest not to think about. Deacon had been there during a moment of emotional collapse. She had gone to Illinois Giardino alone, needing space, needing clarity. Deacon had noticed immediately that something was wrong. "You don't have to carry it all by yourself," he told her gently. That night, Brooke hadn't seen Deacon as the man who had caused so much pain in the past. She saw someone who knew her at her worst, and still stayed. The connection was quiet, intimate, almost forbidden. They hadn't spoken of it since. But now that night echoed louder than ever. Brooke's hands trembled as she sat across from Dr. Campbell later that day. "Yes, Brooke," the doctor said kindly. "You're pregnant. Approximately 6 weeks." 6 weeks. Brooke swallowed hard. The timing overlapped everything. "And amniocentesis? A paternity test?" Brooke asked, her voice barely steady. The doctor nodded. "We can determine paternity once the pregnancy progresses a bit further. But I should mention, given your age, this pregnancy will be considered high risk." High risk. The words hit harder than she expected. As Brooke left the office, her phone buzzed. She didn't answer. Then another vibration. Brooke's heart pounded. Finally, a third. Brooke slipped the phone back into her purse, tears streaming down her cheeks. She whispered, "Oh God, what have I done?" If anyone could sense trouble, it was Steffi Forrester. When Brooke arrived at Forrester Creations the next day, Steffi immediately noticed her pale complexion and distracted demeanor. "Are you sick?" Steffi asked bluntly. "I'm fine," Brooke replied quickly. But Steffi wasn't convinced. Years of watching Brooke cycle through drama had honed her instincts. Later, Steffi cornered Ridge in his office. "She's hiding something," Steffi said. "And I don't think it's good." Ridge frowned. "Brooke would tell me if something was wrong." Steffi crossed her arms. "Would she?" Ridge said nothing, but doubt crept in. As if things weren't complicated enough, Taylor Hayes returned to Los Angeles unexpectedly. She found Brooke alone at the cabin, staring out at the water. "Ridge told me you've been distant," Taylor said calmly. "I wanted to check on you." Brooke stiffened. "That's kind of you." Taylor studied her closely. "You're pregnant." It wasn't a question. Brooke's breath caught. "How did you?" "I'm a psychiatrist," Taylor replied softly. "And a mother. I know the signs." Silence stretched between them. "Is it Ridge's?" Taylor asked. Brooke opened her mouth, but no words came out. Taylor's face fell. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You don't know." Weeks passed in agonizing slow motion. Brooke avoided Ridge, dodged Bill, ignored Deacon, though every unanswered message made her chest ache. Finally, the day came. The paternity test results. Brooke sat alone in the doctor's office, her hands clasped tightly together. "The results are conclusive," Dr. Campbell said, opening the file. "Brooke, the father is." The door burst open. Ridge stood there, breathless. "I had a right to be here." Behind him, Bill. And then Deacon. 3 men. One truth. The doctor hesitated, then continued. "The father is." Deacon sharp. Silence. Bill swore under his breath. Ridge looked like the floor had vanished beneath him. "Deacon," he said hoarsely. No, that's not possible." Deacon himself looked stunned. "You're sure?" The doctor nodded. 100%. Brooke's tears fell freely now. "I didn't plan this," she whispered. "I never wanted to hurt anyone." Ridge backed away, shaking his head. "You slept with him? Again?" Deacon stepped forward. "Hey, this isn't just on her." Ridge's eyes flashed with fury. "You've destroyed enough lives, Deacon." "And yet," Deacon shot back, "I didn't make her pregnant alone." The news spread like wildfire. Hope was blindsided. "My father, and my mother," she whispered, devastated. Steffi was furious. "This is exactly who you are, Brooke." Bill, oddly, said nothing, only watched from the shadows, his expression unreadable. As for Ridge, he left town. Brooke stood at the cabin one night, holding her belly, feeling both broken and strangely protective. Deacon approached quietly. "I know you don't trust me," he said. "But I want to be there. For the baby. For you." Brooke looked at him through tears. "I don't even know what there looks like anymore." Deacon nodded. "Then we'll figure it out." As Brooke's pregnancy progresses, the stakes only rise. Will Ridge return? And can he ever forgive her? Will Hope accept a sibling born from such chaos? Will Deacon truly step up, or repeat the mistakes of his past? And most of all, can Brooke Logan, the woman who has survived everything, survive loving again, when the consequences are growing inside her? One thing is certain. This baby will change everything. And in Los Angeles, nothing stays secret forever.